Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go!
Welcome into this Tuesday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Glad to have you guys with us. It's apparently an interesting day, Mo. We are currently not available on Twitter for some reason, so hope our folks watching on Twitter will find us on other outlets, whether it be Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, or anywhere else. But anyway, glad to have you guys with us. Mo, what's going on, man?
Just looking through the rundown and noticing some scores that we don't have and trying to get those real quick. So
there we go. We're back on Twitter, so we're good to go.
That's good. That's good.
I was getting really worried there for a second. You know what's going on? There's been some changes today on the Twitter side of the Creator Studio, so there's that.
Nice. Never a dull moment.
Never a dull moment, and there won't be a dull moment today on the show, as we've got a good one. We've got David Hood of Clemson Tigernet.com. He's going to join us to talk about reports coming out of the ACC summer meetings that are rather interesting when it pertains to conference realignment and expansion, because the ACC has a pretty airtight media rights deal that runs through the middle of the next decade. But there are a group of teams looking in to see exactly how airtight it is. So we'll talk to David and see
when it's airtight, not airtight, huh?
Exactly. That's what they're looking at. So I'm really interested to see what he's hearing out of the Clemson area or the rest of the ACC meetings. We'll also talk to Chip Walters at 3:00, as we do each and every Tuesday. We got Braves and much more. It's also Top 5 Tuesday, and since Mother's Day was Sunday, we've never done a Top 5 TV Moms draft, so that's what we'll do today. We'll draft our Top 5 TV Moms. So all of that is coming your way here in just moments. So appreciate you guys hanging out and sticking around. Until then, though, we will send it to the rundown.
This is the rundown.
In high school baseball action from Monday, I think that rain interrupted a number of schedules, but at any rate, Independence got in their game against Brentwood in the Region 6-4A consolation round, and the host Eagles defeated Brentwood 3-0. In softball action, it was Beach 7, Cookville 6. Bledsoe County blanked Watertown 6-0. Eagleville with a 5-4 comeback victory over Richland. Community downed East Nashville 17-0. It was Loretto 15, Fairview 4. Forest 15, Whites Creek nothing. Green Hill with an 11-5 win over Gallatin. Centennial defeated Independence 4-3 in 8 innings. Nolensville down Brentwood 9-2. Henry County with a 9-0 win over Springfield. Montgomery Central 14, Murfreesboro Central 3. Riverdale with an 11-4 win over Stewart's Creek. Summertown defeated Cheatham County 11-1. And we already got Loretto, never mind. Page with a 3-1 win at Upperman, and Westmoreland for Sequatchie County 2.
Major League Baseball action. Boy, the Rockies edged the Reds 9-8, and that was as close as it was going to get for any of the other teams in our area, as the Braves just absolutely destroyed the Rangers 12-0, and the Cardinals with an just a drubbing of the Milwaukee Brewers 18-1. Yeah. The Cardinals have figured something out. And I guess moving William Contreras to left field was the catalyst the offense needed. I don't know. Today's schedule, softball action this morning was Friendship Christian at Jackson Christian. And this evening you can find Smyrna at Oakland at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock on the pitch. It'll be Giles County at Sycamore, and at 7 it's Valor Collegiate taking on Greenbrier. Hillsboro hosting Hendersonville. Fairview will be at Murfreesboro Central Magnet. Station Camp welcomes Antioch, and Oakland will be at Laverne at a time undisclosed.
College baseball action tonight at 5:30. Belmont is at Tennessee. That game can be seen on SEC Network Plus. At 6 on SEC Network Plus, the Blue Raiders go to Hawkins Field taking on the Commodores. Major League Baseball action tonight. Brewers Cardinals continue their series at 6:45 in St. Louis. The Braves looking to continue their roll out at Arlington against the Rangers. It's a 7:05 start. And at 7:40, the Reds take on that loser organization, the Colorado Rockies at Coors Field. Minor League Baseball action. The Sounds open their 6-game series at the Durham Baseball Athletic Park. Is that what it is? The DBAP?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's still that. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, 5:35 start there for the Sounds and the Durham Bulls. And that is your rundown.
Hit the bull.
Win a steak.
Every time. Today's top story, Mo, would go to the WNBA, where Becky Hammon has been suspended for 2 games, and the 2025 first-round pick of the Las Vegas Aces has been stripped from the organization for violating league rules regarding impermissible player benefits. So,
do we know what specifically she did?
What did Becky Hammon do? She violated league and team respect in the workplace policies.
Oh, okay. Do we know specifically what she did?
So, let's see here. The respect in the workplace violation was related to comments made by Hammon to Derica Hamby in connection with Hamby's recent pregnancy. Hamby was involved in promises of impermissible benefits in connection with negotiations for an extension, and she complained to the league on January 21st, 2023, alleging misconduct by the Aces. The league began an investigation. The investigation included interviews with 33 people and a review of numerous texts, emails, and other documents. During the course of the investigation, several individuals raised additional concern about the conduct of the Aces during the most recent free agency period. The investigation was not able to substantiate any of those additional concerns. Commissioner Kathy Ingbert had this to say: "It's critical that we uphold the values of integrity and fairness, which create a level playing field for our teams. The Aces failed to adhere to the league rules and regulations and have been disciplined accordingly. We are disheartened by the violation of our respect in the workplace policies and remain committed to ensuring the enhanced training is conducted and standards are followed across all WNBA teams." So Becky was, it appears she was a little upset that Derica Hamby
was pregnant.
got pregnant and said something she shouldn't have said. And Derica was like, all right, bet.
Wow. The WNBA has a lot that they've got to address, because I don't know if you saw it, but Alexis Morris got cut by the Connecticut Sun over the weekend. Alexis Morris, the LSU guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got more really, really talented players coming into the WNBA right now than there's room for.
Yeah, and I think that's
going to be a problem.
Well, I think that's part of the, they want to expand. They certainly want to expand into additional markets, Nashville being one of those, I think. I feel like they want to expand to Nashville. Don't know why they wouldn't. And you're right. I mean, that makes a big difference when you've got great talent across the league, but you also, and this goes, there's a salary cap. Is it too low? Because it's not a team salary cap, it's an individual salary cap. You can only pay players a certain amount. And it's kind of like indoor football where, it used to be $200 a game and $250 if you win or whatever. And then, I've made mention of the Huntsville team that had that Honda dealership that every time you scored a touchdown, if you hit his dasher board, you got a little extra in the, in your sock drawer the next week or whatever.
Or a little extra put on your gift card or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's the kind of thing that the WNBA is dealing with right now. And the unfortunate part is, one, WNBA players, some of them deserve higher salaries than they can currently earn, which is why they're having to go overseas and earn larger salaries.
Or go to jail.
The second problem is the WNBA doesn't make any money. So they don't have money to pay them what they deserve to be paid. And so you're in a catch-22 where you've got these great athletes who just aren't, they're not bringing in enough revenue in order to be paid what they deserve to be paid.
Okay. And now when you say it in the way that you just said it, that puts the blame for the lack of revenue on the players. And I don't know that that's
I don't think
accurate.
I think it's a lack of effort on the league's part. I don't think they do enough to market their teams. It's the same issue that Major League Baseball is having. They're not marketing their great players. They're not marketing their product. People care about women's basketball. We saw that just 2 months ago. There's no reason that women's basketball can't be at a professional level, can't be successful in the United States. There's just not a good reason for it. Other than, I don't think the league does enough to promote its product. And being on Facebook and Twitter, that's your media rights deal. That's tough.
Yep.
That being said, I think Facebook's about to blow up, but that's a whole nother story.
So what happens? Is this situation calling for another league?
I don't know that you could do another league because I don't think that there's anything that could that could sustain the league for the period of time that it would need to, that's not the NBA. I mean,
So
I guess the NFL, if the NFL wanted to start a women's basketball league, they could.
Yeah, no, that's
but
not
they're not.
But I mean, what? Yeah. So I mean, what happened?
Right now, it's gonna stay status quo, and I think here's my problem. I understand wanting parity in the league. I understand that, but if an organization is willing to pay these women what they deserve to be paid, we shouldn't stop them. We shouldn't stop them from allowing them to charter flights.
Boom.
We shouldn't stop them from whatever the organization wants to do. That should be up to them. It's their money.
What's the saying in college athletics? So often get better or get beat.
I mean, in pro baseball, you don't like it, play better. That's exactly what Ron Washington told Von Grissom, right? Well, I mean, that's because, look, if you start allowing New York and Las Vegas to do these things, the serious franchises are going to step up and do those things too.
Right.
The reason they're not doing them is because
they don't have to.
Thank you.
Like the Cubs for so long.
So
people continue going to games, you know. Folks are coming to Wrigley Field. Why do we care what we put in front of them?
That's it. So hopefully this can at least spark a conversation, because I think once again, if an organization wants to pay their employees and players whatever they want to pay them and charter flights and all of the other things, they should be able to do that. Anyway.
And I don't know who the Aces play in those 2 games that Becky Hammon is suspended for, but my money's still on them.
Yeah, Becky's a fantastic coach, but let's be honest. I mean, this team.
Do we really know?
unless it's New York. I mean, that would be the only way that I would think that they might struggle is because that's the only other team that right now is putting forth the same effort that Las Vegas is. Now, Las Vegas just played its preseason game. They only have one. So they'll open the season. Yeah. they beat New York in a preseason game, 84-77. They open the season Saturday against the Seattle Storm on ABC, and then they'll travel
without Becky Hammon,
and then they'll travel to Los Angeles to take on the Sparks on Thursday the 25th. That's on CBS Sports Network. And those 2 games will be without head coach Becky Hammon. So, and Derek Hamby, I assume.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, there you go. That's our top story for the day. We'll take a break right here, and we'll get to David Hood on the other side from Tigernet.com. Sorry, and we will talk a little ACC conference alignment right after this on Main Street Sports Today. We'll be back to the Lee Company studio in just a moment. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Attention Tennessee homeowners, we want to buy your house. Hi, we are Real Property Solutions, a local real estate investing group. We pay cash for all types of property, so you walk away with more money in your pocket because we eliminate any fees, closing costs, and commissions. Now the best part, we can buy your house as is, meaning you don't have to do a thing to your property. You get to take what you want, leave what you don't, and don't even worry about cleaning. We close on your timeline, whether that's 7 days or 70 days. Interested in selling? Just give us a call and we'll come out to your property and quote you a cash offer within 24 hours. Please call 615-527-8750. That's 615-527-8750.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Justin, your audio is coming through the computer. That is why you are being muted for whatever reason. I hope that helps. I'm Chris Yow, and he's Mo Patton, and we are coming to you from the Lee Company studio. Glad to have you guys with us. Justin's on location right now out at the Omni. So, unusual situations and unusual circumstances sometimes lead to unusual results. So we'll get it straightened out here. But right now we're going to go to the Real Property Solutions hotline, where TigerNet.com's David Hood joins us. David, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Are we here to talk about the Atlanta Braves and Matt Olson finally going the opposite way and
I was going
the opposite way?
I'll tell you, David.
The bullpen game.
The last thing I was going to ask you was how about them Braves, but if you want to go there now, we can. We could swap this thing up. I don't know.
We'd much rather talk about them today than yesterday.
Yeah, that was a rather desultory trip up to Toronto, wasn't it?
That's one way of putting it.
What happens in Canada stays in Canada. Hopefully,
I just wish they left AJ Minter in Canada. That's my wish.
And that's unfortunate because, boy, that guy has been so good over the last couple of years. But we thrust him into that closer role, and his mind just got all screwed up, didn't it?
It did. And, I think that he's just one of those guys. He's not built for that. And his mechanics are a bit of a mess right now. That's a fact. The velocity seems to be down. And, as a longtime baseball friend of mine told me, he said, don't blame him. Snit's the one that keeps sticking him out there.
Oh my God. How many times have we said that over the last 3 years, Chris, between AJ and Will Smith and whoever else Snit kept putting out there? Yeah, David, don't get us started. We've got a segment later we might need you to stick around for. But I wondered when we reached out to somebody from Clemson if they would be a Braves fan. I guess we've gotten our answer. So
I actually covered the Braves for a long time back when I was in the newspaper business. That was my beat, and fond memories of doing that. And yeah, absolutely a Braves fan.
Awesome. Awesome.
Well, as I was looking for a photo of you, David, I saw one with the Braves cap. And so that's why I thought, oh, got to talk a little Braves with this guy. If he knows anything about them, we're going to be in good shape. But you know, one thing we are looking forward to learning a little bit about is what's going on at the ACC summer meetings right now, because apparently things are getting haywire.
It's interesting. I texted somebody, you know, obviously you've been around as long as I have, you get sources everywhere. And I texted somebody and I said, hey, it sounds like things are a little bit wild down there in your rooms. Anything that I can say? And the text that I got back was, lay low and enjoy the show. And, you know, what that means to me is, look, some of the stuff that's been coming out, I reported it a couple of weeks ago. I said in a video a couple of weeks ago, you know, look, Clemson is joined, you know, at this point by Miami and North Carolina and Florida State as kind of a 4-team group that's looking to get out of the ACC. I had heard at that time there may be as many as 6 that were looking to get out, adding NC State and Virginia Tech to the mix. So a lot of this may be not so new to a lot of the people around Clemson, but nationally, yes. And then you have Brett McMurphy report yesterday that there's a magnificent 7. You start adding teams in there. Then today, Greg Slam says there's an 8th. Can they dissolve the grant of rights? But to me, what it means with, you know, enjoy the show, we all knew that this was coming. And this is a chance for Clemson, for Florida State, for Miami to let the other athletic directors in the league know this is what's coming. You can't stop it at this point. You know, this train's already starting to roll down the tracks. We're just letting you know that this is happening as soon as we get all of this figured out.
So ultimately, David, what happens? Do those schools just become free agents, basically?
I don't think that they become free agents. I don't think that they leave until everybody has a landing spot. That's the key thing to me. You know, you better have an invite in hand from the SEC. You better have an invite from the Big Ten or the Big 12 before you decide to leave. And I think that that's part of that posturing that I was talking about. Do I think that back channel conversations are going on? Absolutely. Do I think that the Big Ten is talking to some of these schools? I know the Big Ten is. You know, I've been told that the SEC is kind of more wait and see at this point. They're happy with where they are. The SEC says, let's add Texas, let's add Oklahoma, let's figure out our scheduling model. Are we going to go from 8 conference games to 9 conference games? And then let's see where we are. But what happens if the news starts to break, hey, the Big Ten's going to poach Clemson and Florida State in the SEC's backyard? Then the SEC is going to go, hey, guess what? We're taking our blinders off. We need you guys. And, you know, I think that, you know, what we're starting to see now is kind of that opening salvo to figure out where everybody lands.
Well, I think that's a fair overall look at it. And I think my question is, if it's the Big 12 who's calling and who's really in this, what's the point?
Yeah, I think for the Big 12, they want to be a national conference because, you know, they're already talking about poaching teams from the Pac-12.
Right.
You know, they're talking about poaching Colorado. They're talking about poaching Arizona. Can they add somebody else from the Pac-12? Well, you know, they've already got West Virginia now. Can they add somebody from, you know, even further down on the East Coast? Can they add a North Carolina State or somebody like that, become a true national conference to where when all of the dust settles, now you're going to have 3 conferences that are in play for all of this. You're going to have, you know, the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10. And what I try to tell people, it's so funny that down at the Orange Bowl, I had a conversation with a money person that's really big in college athletics. And I said, you know, is it still the Power 5? And he said, it's not the Power 5 anymore. It's the Power 2. It's the Big 10 and it's the SEC. And, you know, the Big 12 doesn't want to get left behind, and they realize that.
So that's and that's, you know, I guess if you add those teams, when you've got, you know, you think about Cincinnati, West Virginia, UCF, you add 4 more teams from the East Coast, and now you've got a really strong base on the East Coast, plus what you have in Texas West. That would make a lot of sense for the Big 12. And they then become what was thought to be a potential afterthought into moving into at least probably the number 3 spot on the conference level. So them not having a TV deal in place right now, I think is that a problem for these ACC schools, or is that a negotiating power because they don't have to go into a deal that's already there?
Yeah, I think negotiating power. I think the Big 12 actually don't they have a deal? Am I wrong on that? It's the Pac-12 that doesn't have a deal. They're still negotiating. And from what I understand, the Big 12 has kickers inside their deal that says if we add other teams, then the revenue goes up.
That's right. They signed the deal in October.
They signed the deal last year right after the SEC and the Big Ten did theirs. So, there's kickers added for these teams. There's incentives. And, for the ACC, you're hearing about a lot of things like athletic directors are fighting. I don't believe that, but I believe that there's a lot of angst in that athletic director's room, because if you're Syracuse, what happens to you? If you're Boston College, what happens to you? If you're Wake Forest, who actually kind of cares about football, but has a small alumni base because they only have 7,000 students in their school, who only has a stadium that seats 40,000. You care, but what happens to Wake Forest? What happens to Duke? Do these teams go join the Big East and play basketball? Does the ACC, what's left of it, go poach these teams and try and create some sense of normalcy? But man, if I'm Syracuse, Boston College, I'm scared to death.
Yeah, and there is nowhere, and that was my big question, was where do you go? Because again, Georgia Tech hasn't really been mentioned in these conversations either. So you're talking about the Atlanta media market not being involved in this. That's wild to me.
It is, and it's funny. In talking to people, I said, how much does this matter? Media markets. We keep hearing about this. Media markets. How much does it matter? And this is something to kind of keep in mind. The way the example was given to me, let's just use Atlanta, or let's use Georgia as an example. Suppose that you're a Comcast or a Spectrum customer inside the state of Georgia. Comcast or Spectrum will pay $1.40 to the SEC network for every citizen in the state of Georgia. That's part of their contract. But let's say that you're a Spectrum or a Comcast customer in the state of North Carolina. Well, those companies only pay 10 cents for every citizen in the state because there's no SEC teams. So here you go. So does it make sense for the SEC money-wise to add a team from North Carolina over, say, Georgia Tech? Yeah, because they've already got the Georgia money. Georgia Tech doesn't add anything to it, but a North Carolina or North Carolina State or somebody like that does. Clemson's in the same boat. Already got South Carolina in the SEC. So what does Clemson add monetarily to the SEC? Probably not a lot right off the bat, but they would add something to the Big Ten.
So with that said, then, David, and we're speaking with David Hood of TigerNet.com here on the Real Property Solutions Hotline on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. David, with that said, when the SEC starts looking at some of these schools, obviously there are some schools they're looking at harder than others, but is it less the Clemsons and the Florida States and more the Virginia Techs and the North Carolinas?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything, because I think that, with the SEC, they're still going to look at brand. Florida State has a brand. Clemson has a national brand. Whereas, Virginia, do they have a national brand? Debatable. North Carolina does because of basketball. And I think it, for the SEC, when they finally make a move, and they will make a move, they will get to 20. I think the Big Ten is going to get to 20. It's going to be all about how can we consolidate? How can we own a certain territory? That's what I think is probably the biggest plus for a team like Clemson and for a team like Florida State.
Unfortunately, the Big 12 doesn't have that luxury of owning a territory. They've kind of got to get what they can get out of this. But I think the biggest question is the one you raised about Syracuse. Holy cow. I mean, that is a completely, I didn't even think about Syracuse. That was the last thing.
Boston College, Pitt.
Yeah. Pitt, I think you could sneak into the Big Ten maybe. I mean, if Rutgers is there,
I think my thing is though, if as far as that goes, if Pitt A could go to the Big Ten or B wanted to go to the Big Ten, wouldn't they already be there?
they can't. That's the problem. They can't get out of this ACC deal without 8 teams leaving. That's why the number of teams that are talking is so important.
It is. It's funny, and I was talking to somebody the other day within the ACC, and we were talking about Syracuse, and specifically, and I said, great tradition up there, great football tradition, from Jim Brown, right on down the line to a lot of guys. And he told me, he said, but what do they bring right now? In that it's not a program, Jim Boeheim is gone. The basketball team's not been very good for a long time. They do not have a baseball program as part of the Big Three. They do not have that. The football program plays in an absolute dump of a stadium. If you've ever been there, I mean, it's kind of neat to visit once, but it's not a place that invests in facilities. He told me, he said, we had a big lacrosse match the other day at Syracuse, and our number 1 ranked, or they're really high ranked lacrosse team, had to go play at a high school field because there was a monster truck rally inside the dome. Can you imagine telling Florida State or Clemson fans, sorry, you can't come see your team today because we've got a monster truck rally inside Doug Kingsmore Stadium or something like that? And there's just a difference in how these schools invest in their athletics. Talk to a person that, went to Boston College and has kind of come back to Clemson and been around the Clemson football program, and said at Boston College, it's more like football is something that we do. Like we go to English class, we go to, we go to chapel. Football is something that we just do because we have to. At Clemson, it's it's something that is loved and cherished, and a lot of money's put into it. And so those schools that haven't invested, they're the ones that are going to get left behind.
The AAC is just licking its chops right now, hoping and praying that they could get some of these programs to join.
So David, which conference, and Chris, you probably got a thought on this as well, but which conference implodes first, then the Pac-12 or the ACC?
Pac-12.
See, I think the Pac-12 is the winner. If the ACC goes away, the Pac-12 is the big winner, because then the Big 12 stops pursuing 4 or 6 teams from the Pac-12. Now they're just getting, they really want Colorado. They really want Arizona. They couldn't care less about the rest if they get some ACC teams. So I think the Pac-12 would be a big winner in this if the ACC was to go away. That being said, I don't know that the ACC is going to go away. Do you get that feeling at all?
Yeah, I think that the ACC will stick around. As to what happens first, the Pac-12 really needs to secure some kind of media rights deal. I think all of their members were told it would be done by the end of March. That was kind of the key time for them. And we're now heading to, we're in heading into late May. Nothing has been done. Big 12 is meeting. They're trying to poach. And I think that that's probably what happens first. And then once that domino starts to fall, I think the rest are going to fall into place. And I think that, maybe by end of summer, you start to see some of these ACC teams take a look at legal action or things like that, just to see what their options are.
David, great insight into the ACC and into the Braves. and I really thought, when I saw this report yesterday, and several reports, I mean, Brett McMurphy, Ross Dellinger, folks out there naming teams like crazy. And at this point, I don't know what to believe and what not to believe, but I did know that, and it is 8 is the magic number, right?
Yeah. From what I understand, now it's not 8 to dissolve necessarily the grant of rights, but the ACC is built as a nonprofit inside the state of North Carolina. And in the state of North Carolina, to dissolve a nonprofit, you have to have half the members to vote against it. So it would be 8 that would vote, necessarily we're going to leave the conference or to dissolve it. And again, the key part of that is those 8 teams had better have an invite somewhere else before that happens. You better have that invite in hand from the Big 12 or the SEC or the Big 10.
Yeah, because then what? I mean, if you dissolve the nonprofit and you got nowhere to go, you are in real trouble at that
Then
point.
you're Notre Dame, which is another story, but I think Notre Dame's going to be in the Big Ten sooner rather than later.
Man, that'd be nice. We'd like to see it.
I asked somebody, I said, what are the chances that Notre Dame swoops in and saves the day for the ACC? And he said, is there something less than zero? Is anybody a math guy? Is there a number that's less than zero? That's what is happening with Notre Dame.
Alrighty then. So no, the Notre Dame is not on the radar for the ACC.
Right.
That's good information. Good information. David, as always, we appreciate anything that we can get from our friends in the ACC because we don't get a lot of information out of there. So we appreciate when you guys will come on here in Middle Tennessee and SEC country and tell us what's going on over there. We appreciate it. And again, hopefully the Braves bats will continue tonight.
Yeah, and it just, right now I just want to see, does Ozuna play and does does Mentor pitch? That's going to affect how happy I am by the end of the night.
Hey man, have you did you guys see Marcell Ozuna's May stats?
Yeah, he's got 6 of his 8 home runs have come in May.
He's hitting over 300 in the month and just absolute 300, 391, 775 with a 1.166 OPS, 6 homers, 12 ribbies, only 7 strikeouts with 6 walks. In the month of May, he has certainly heated up, and the trip to Miami is all he needed.
And Snit's walking around like he split an atom or something. I imagine it's like, see, I told you.
That's why he'll tell
you like
to
me
be
now.
Patient with AJ Minder because it's a long season.
Yep,
it is. In fact, well,
guys, I appreciate you having me on. It was great to talk to you.
Hey, thank you, David.
All right, this is David Hood on the Real Property Solutions Hotline. 615-527-8750 is the number to call. They'll buy your house as is. Take what you want, leave what you don't. Don't even worry about cleaning. They'll take care of all of that for you. They'll close on your timeline, whether it's 7 days or 70. Just give them a call, 615-527-8750, Real Property Solutions. Let's take a break, continue a little Braves talk, Mo. We'll do that when we come back to the Lee Company studio on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets, and we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
There is nothing better than drinking an ice-cold beverage while taking in a Nashville Sounds baseball game. Hi, I'm Stephanie Miller with Mornings on Main Street. The Nashville Sounds and Main Street Media Television have teamed up to promote Sunday Family Fun Day here at First Horizon Park, each Sunday home game. Just go to your favorite Main Street Media website and click on Sounds Main Street Media Day banner to register to win free tickets. And then we'll see you here at the ballpark.
May 16th, 2004, Ben Sheets became the 14th Major League pitcher to strike out 18 batters in a 9-inning game, working a 3-hitter as the host Brewers downed Atlanta 4-1. Wilson Betemate, Johnny Estrada, and J.D. Drew were each 3-time victims of Sheets, and every Brave starter struck out once except, get ready for this one, Nick Green. Atlanta's only run came on an Andrew Jones 7th-inning solo homer. That was this day in Braves history.
Wow, those are some names I haven't heard in a minute.
Yeah, and could have gone a long way without hearing again, I'm sure. 18 strikeouts, and Nick Green wasn't one of them.
That's something right there. That is something. Mo, it is Jared Schuster on the bump tonight. He'll take on Dane Dunning.
Who?
That's right, Dane Dunning, who is.
Of course, that's okay. I'm sure the Rangers are saying the same thing about Jared Schuster. So, yeah.
Well, he's pitched 31 innings this year, started 2 games. He's given up just 6 earned runs and has 19 strikeouts to just 7 walks with a 1.72 ERA and 0.86 whip. So, has been really good for the Rangers this season, a 3-0 record. Jared Schuster's not been great in the big leagues, but has been really good at the minor league level. So you hope that with a little bit of the bats from last night and a little bit of luck for Schuster, of course, we know what happened to was it Kyle Muller, who came up last year in Houston, in Texas, and got just pummeled. You hope that doesn't happen tonight to Jared, but should be interesting. We've got I don't see Marcell Ozuna in the lineup, so
you found a lineup?
I do have a lineup.
Because I looked and couldn't see one, but
well, this is on ESPN, so it may not be official as of yet, but this is what. Let's see here. Yeah, the Braves haven't tweeted a lineup yet, so I'm not sure if this is completely official, but I don't expect to see Marcell Ozuna in there against a right-hander.
Wouldn't want to wear him out either. So,
there's that. Austin Riley moved down to the 4-hole. I guess 2 or 3 games ago.
I think it was last night was the second game. I think he moved down for the series finale in Toronto.
Well, in both of those games, he's been the Austin Riley that we know.
What, he had 2 hits and a walk on Sunday, I think it was?
2 hits and a walk on Sunday. Last night had the home run.
The other way.
And let's see, that was the only hit he had, though. That being said, he's not striking out as much. And I don't know if I don't know what the thought process is there. And if does that matter to big leaguers?
Apparently it does. Well, I mean, he struck out twice on Sunday in 4 ABs, or 4 plate appearances, I guess. Struck out once last night. He was, like you said, 1 for 5 with the home run. So, I mean, I think the strikeouts have been combined with some bad luck on some balls that were put in play. He seemed to be hitting a lot of balls right at folks, which I think made the strikeouts even more glaring, I guess. But, you know, I think seeing him go right center with that home run last night was as good a sign as you're going to see. Maybe he's just staying on the ball a little bit better. I don't know what him going to the 4 spot would have to do with that, but
I don't know. But over the years, he's just been a better hitter when he's in that 4 hole, and it's not just this year. It's been for the last 3 years. Anytime he's in the 4 hole, he just feels more comfortable. And I don't know if it's because he just needs to not hit in the first inning unless there's people on. I mean, and right now, Ronald Acuna Jr. is getting on just about every time he gets up to the plate. And then you either get a strikeout from Sean Murphy or you get a double, one of the two. Those are your options.
Yeah, this lineup that they played with last night isn't bad. Acuna, Olsen, Albies in the 3 spot, Riley, Murphy, Ozuna, and then Pilar, Harris, and Arcia. So,
Ozzie in the 3 spot against a left-hander, absolutely. Ozzie against a right-hander, not so much. He has been dismal from the left side of the plate. And I'm curious at what point somebody sits him down and says, listen, man, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at your statistics, but you are almost 3 times as good from the right side as you are the left.
Well, here's the thing, but he's as good from the right side against, opposite hand pitchers. Now, when you put him on the right side against, the pitchers that he's typically been facing left-handed, balls are breaking differently. David O'Brien of The Athletic has an article today on that very thing. And one thing is Kevin Seitzer, the Braves batting coach, kind of did not necessarily endorse doing that midseason.
No, I don't think you can. I think that's something you have to I'm talking about for his career. I'm talking about long-term. Well, hey, start taking some ABs from the right side during spring training and
again, DOB kind of spoke to that as well. In the 3 full seasons that Ozzie Albies has played at the major league level as a switch hitter, he is a 2-time Silver Slugger.
Yeah. I think of what you would think of how good he would be if he hit right-handed all the time.
Well, but again, I don't know that's necessarily an assumption you can make. I mean, it sounds good.
But again, and that's why I say Ozzie in the 3 hole against left-handed hitters, absolutely. 100% put in there every time. Against righties, you move him down in the lineup and you let those other guys maybe either get on base or drive in a couple of runs and you hope that he is able to start the bottom half of the lineup from the 6 hole, the 6 or 7 spot and roll the lineup over.
Yeah. And that's a thought.
And when you've got guys like Harris behind him and you've got guys like, Arcia, who's been hitting the ball like crazy. I mean, Orlando Arcia is still hitting over 330. This guy's been fantastic.
Yep. So
you put those guys behind him, and again, this lineup, despite what happened in Canada, hopefully whatever the juju was up there, like you said, stayed there. Put that out of your mind. And this lineup is still it's absolutely insane.
It's a pretty good baseball team.
Play tonight at 7:05, old geezer, to answer your question. Again, Jared Schuster and this, I don't know if Dunning is, I guess he pitched last year, but I mean, Okay, he was with the White Sox in 2020, and he's been with the Rangers since 21. So this is his third full season. He only started 7 games with the White Sox in 2020. Of course, that was the shortened year, so I don't know if that was a full season.
It might have been.
I guess 7 starts might have been a full season for the White Sox.
Right.
They only played 60 games. So, but yeah. So, and he's been pretty good. I mean, mid 4.5 and 4.46 over the last 2 years. So he's been certainly remarkably better this year than he has in the past. But so are the Texas Rangers, 25 and 16 right now. This is not the Texas Rangers of the old.
Well, when they threw the money that they threw at Corey Seager and at Marcus Semien
and Jacob DeGrom,
well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just knew they were serious.
Yeah. And they've gotten some results out of it. Semien, of course, playing. Seager and DeGrom. Seager is hurt and DeGrom stays hurt. So, but yeah, like you said, 25 and 16 after that loss last night. And
well, you're also getting an actual Adolis Garcia year. A year that you expect from a guy like Adolis Garcia. 10 home runs, hitting 250. He's got 42 ribbies already. That's insane.
Yeah, that is crazy through 41 games.
And that's a guy who hasn't been that good in the past 2. He's been, average for 2 or 3 years, but at one point was one of the best third basemen in the game. So, I don't know. I mean, I'll be interested in this one. I think it's going to be a good ball game. I hope Jared Schuster does not allow this season, whatever may happen, to affect him too much, because I do think he's got a long-term big league career ahead of him.
Yeah, I think Jared Schuster is kind of at a different position, obviously, but I think Jared Schuster is kind of Vaughn Grissom 2022. I mean, I think he's being asked to do more at the major league level than perhaps he should be. Perhaps he expected to. Pitched well in spring training, turned a lot of heads, but might be a little ahead of what the expectations were for him, maybe coming out of 2022 or going into spring training. So, and because of where the Braves pitching is, maybe a little bit more is being put on him than is deserved. So,
I think that's a great way to put it. Real quick before we get out of here, staying in baseball, Aaron Judge. What was he looking at last night? I would like to know your thoughts.
I don't know, but I mean, I don't know how you can, the fact that you can take your eye off of the pitcher in the middle of an at bat when those guys are throwing what they're throwing is pretty amazing to me, period, regardless of what you were looking at or what it was you were trying to figure out or what had you distracted. But
so I saw a theory that the pitcher had a tail. And he was trying to alert his teammates when he did it that he was doing it right then.
I saw that the pitcher had a tail and they were picking it up in the dugout and trying to get it to him.
Okay. That's up. Either way, I don't think there was a sign stealing or signal stealing. I don't think the Yankees were cheating.
I don't think the Yankees were cheating. I guess it depends on what you call tipping pitches. I mean, if a pitcher is tipping and somebody's picking up on it,
that ain't cheating.
That's not cheating.
That's on you.
Yeah.
That's a skill. That's not reading the signs.
So I'm not sure. And typically, if a pitcher is tipping, nobody's going to say anything about it because they don't want him to fix it.
Right. I remember a couple, maybe last year, I don't know, where Mike Trout was out in center field trying to tell his pitcher he was tipping pitches. And he was like just so frustrated out in center field, like trying to tell him and couldn't get his attention during the inning. And hopefully,
I don't know in the middle of the game what you can do about it if you are tipping anyway.
Yeah, I mean, because that's all you're going to focus on,
right?
Then you're just not going to throw strikes. What good is that going to do you? So, anyway, that's
maybe it's better. Maybe it's better to walk people and get something hammered up into the second deck. I don't know.
There's that. One base better than four, I guess. Oh, before we get to Chip, who is now standing by, and we'll go to him here momentarily, just wanted to mention this. Mo, yesterday I asked you a question, and the answer came. Doc Rivers was fired today. Oh, and now that makes 5 of the top 6 best records as head coaches in the NBA over the last 3 years who have been fired from their position.
5 or 6.
5 of the top 6.
Cue Janet Jackson.
That's
what
a little
done for me lately.
I guess. I mean, my goodness. And here's the thing. Of those coaches, at least 4 of them will have a head coaching job at one of those other spots. They're just going to play musical chairs. That's all that's going to happen.
Lather, rinse, repeat.
It's ridiculous. But
yeah.
Anyway, MTSU coming up. Chip Walters is standing by. Big weekend for the baseball team. And we'll get an update on what else is going on in the borough right after this on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Y'all stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Attention Tennessee homeowners, we want to buy your house. Hi, we are Real Property Solutions, a local real estate investing group. We pay cash for all types of property, so you walk away with more money in your pocket because we eliminate any fees, closing costs, and commissions. Now the best part, we can buy your house as is, meaning you don't have to do a thing to your property. You get to take what you want, leave what you don't, and don't even worry about cleaning. We close on your timeline. whether that's 7 days or 70 days. Interested in selling? Just give us a call and we'll come out to your property and quote you a cash offer within 24 hours. Please call 615-527-8750. That's 615-527-8750.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris, Yow and Maurice Patton here with you on this Tuesday. Glad to have you guys with us, and glad to have our esteemed Tuesday guest, Chip Walters, joining us on the Real Property Solutions Hotline. Chip, what's up?
Boy, a lot of stuff is going on, and when you hit the middle of May and you still have a lot of teams playing, and that's a good thing. Golf, second round of the NCAA today. Softball starts the regional on Friday. The Blue Raider baseball team, huge weekend coming up. So just a ton of stuff going on, and baseball plays their last regular season non-conference game tonight against what will probably be a mad Vanderbilt team, but that's okay. And so that'll wrap up the non-conference slate tonight. But just a lot of stuff happening. Where do you want to start?
That's a good question. Where do we want to start?
Let's start, Chip, with something that we probably should have touched on last week, but I don't believe we did. MTSU Lady Raiders were honored by will be officially, I guess, honored by the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. They were named the Female Amateur Team of the Year earlier this month. We've not talked about that, have we?
No, I don't think we have, and that's correct. And you look around, there were some pretty good basketball teams on the women's side this year, and then when you throw in all the other sports that are involved, that's a really high honor from a great organization. Brad Willis has taken the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame to new heights, and for the Lady Raiders to be recognized as the Female Amateur Team of the Year in Tennessee after an outstanding season, had great RPI, NCAA tournament trip, and all that. Coming up, I think July 22nd, somewhere right in that neighborhood is the date of the banquet, and so that'll be a lot of fun for them to be involved with that. And of course, there's another person with a middle, obviously a very deep tie to middle, and that is Steve Smith, who is the chairman of the board of trustees, but also former student athlete. He and his family, great benefactors to the university and to the athletic department, and he'll be going in as an inductee this year.
Absolutely. He, along with, among others, Eric Berry, Keith Bullock, Mike Fisher, John Henderson, Teresa Lawrence Phillips, Zach Randolph, and Les Robinson from ETSU, also on the list of inductees in this 2023 class for the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. So, yeah, it's going to be a big night down there at the Omni Nashville, like you said, on July 22nd. But again, I didn't think that we had talked about that, and I felt like we were remiss in not doing so. So
that's right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is certainly something that's on the summer agenda.
Yeah. Chris?
Well, let's talk about baseball, because a couple of big hits from one guy. Gets a couple of big wins over the weekend.
Golly, I mean, JT Mabry and Mr. Palmer asked me to on Saturday rather, because it ended up being a doubleheader. He said I think he's had some allergy problems. He goes, "Do you mind doing game 2?" I said, "No, I'll be happy to." It always is fun to kind of scratch that itch a little bit and get to do some baseball, which and so Middle got a great outing from Eric Swan, who ended up being the Tennessee Sports Writers Association Player of the Week. He went 5 2/3 of no-hit ball, and according to Coach Jerry Myers, and I concur, his best outing since he came to Middle. And as soon as he came out, Middle gave up a 2-run homer, got behind 2-1, got behind 6-1, and then we get to the bottom of the 8th inning, and Middle scores 6 in the bottom of the 8th to go ahead 7-6. UAB comes back, scratches a run in the top of the 9th. Middle can't score in the bottom of the 9th. UAB gets a man on in the top of the 10th, can't score him. And then with one out, JT Mabry comes up and just rips one over the left field wall. And so just a big solo home run, gave Middle the sweep, won the series, guaranteed a spot in the tournament. And then, on Sunday, just couldn't get the bats going, but win 2 out of 3. And I'm telling you, outside of second place in the in Conference USA, there are 5 teams within one game of each other going into the final weekend. So it's certainly an entertaining league this year for sure.
And Chip, for some reason, I had never made the connection, and I saw somebody ask you on your Facebook over the weekend. JT comes by his offensive talents pretty naturally. The son of 14-year Major League veteran John Mabry, spent most of that with the Cardinals, and maybe that's why I didn't make the connection, but also played with the Mariners, Rockies, Phillies, A's, Padres, Cubs, and Marlins. Well-traveled, John Mabry. But
modeled a few uniforms, didn't he?
Yeah. But I had just never made that connection, and once you did, it's like, I could have had a V8, duh. But nice to see him have a weekend like that.
Well, and he's a 4-year guy that his final weekend at home, to be able to do that and get a game winner and a walk-off, he certainly deserves it. He's given a lot to the program, and with that mentality of being, just a lifer in baseball with his dad and all that, you couldn't have had a better guy at the plate at the right time on Saturday, and really happy for him.
A really important couple of wins for Middle, and as you mentioned, Conference USA baseball is just an absolute hodgepodge at this point. Outside of DBU, it's kind of pick a team out of a hat and go with it. But what does this what does this team feel like right now? Do they really think that you watch the softball team and it's a tournament sport?
Why not?
Why not us, right?
That's exactly right. And the thing that I really like about, there's a lot of things I like about Jerry Myers. He's just, number one, just an outstanding person. And he, was the pitching coach for Jim Toman last year, and has continued on that role as the interim head coach. He's done I think a very good job with a group of freshman pitchers, to try to mix and match and bring them along, get them better along the way. And they were, they were doing great for a long time. Kind of hit a little bit of a wall, but a lot of people do when you have to play Dallas Baptist, and that's just kind of part of it. But they've come back, and he's moved some people around in different roles, and Jaden Ham had a great start last weekend. He's done a good job with that pitching staff of getting them to the point where they are right now. This team has a lot of young guys and a lot of old guys, and you're going to have a big group of older guys who will leave the program after this year, and you've got a lot of red shirts who will come in next year. So it'll have a different look to it. But these guys, like you said, like softball did it, go to Charlotte, do what you can, pick up a couple of wins there if you can, and let it all kind of settle out where it does. The thing about Jerry is on Saturday, the first game had Jaden Ham pitching, and they knew they needed one game to wrap up a spot in the tournament. So I mean, he's all about winning the game he's playing at the time. And he's not going to hold anything back. He's not going to hold his cards for this, that, or the other. He's going to do whatever it takes to win this one, and then we'll worry about the next one when we get to the next one. And so it'll be interesting to see what both Middle and Vandy do tonight as far as a pitching plan, because it's a Tuesday night game. Both teams, I know Middle does. I'm pretty sure Vandy, their weekend series will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday this weekend, just like all of the series in Conference USA will be, so they can get home and everybody have a day before they have to head to their respective conference tournaments.
Now, with Charlotte's lost game, and of course that was against DBU, right?
I think that's right.
Of course it was.
Conveniently
right?
so.
Conveniently, their lost game just happens to be against the league leader. What does that mean for Middle as far as seeding? I mean, did they need to win all three, or does 2 get them over the top?
Well, it all depends on what everybody else does, because, I mean, if Charlotte has a bad weekend, you could win 2 and move up. Western Kentucky, who's 15-12, they're right now a full game ahead of Middle, FAU, and Louisiana Tech. Charlotte, like you mentioned, they're a half game ahead. They're 14-12. So sometimes a lost game can help you, sometimes it can hurt you. And right now, Charlotte's in a position where it looks like it could help them, because it all goes back to winning percentage. And so, it's just there's so many combinations of things that could happen. Middle could finish anywhere from 3rd to 7th, depending on what goes on this weekend with those 5 teams that are all involved. Dallas Baptist has wrapped up the regular season. UTSA is going to finish 2nd. Then you've got 5 teams playing for 3 through 7. And then you've got 3 more teams that are playing for 1 spot, and they're all in a flat-footed tie at 7-20.
So the top 8 go, Chip?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And FIU, Rice, and UAB 7-20 each. And like you said,
correct.
Playing for 1 spot. So
that's correct. Okay. Softball, by the way, you mentioned them. As the 6th seed, both times Jeff Breeden has won the Conference USA tournament, they've done it as a 6th seed. They got the top seed Charlotte on Friday. Yes, on Friday, and then came back, played North Texas, and it will go down as an instant classic as far as Conference USA championship games. It ended up going 12 innings, and Middle got a run in the top of inning number 12 that had to be reviewed, and in a very, very close play. But the call stood as being safe, and got North Texas 1-2-3 in the bottom half, and there you go. Now they're heading.
Ruston, huh?
Yep, celebrated in Ruston. Came home, had a big celebration here over at Happy Sports Lounge for the selection show, and they go to Tuscaloosa and will play Central Arkansas, who has won 44 games this year in the ASUN on Friday at 3:30, and then the other couplet there is Alabama and Long Island. So that's a double elimination regional down in Tuscaloosa, and I think there's going to be a lot of blue in the stands down there.
You'd hope so. I tell you what, though, you talk about both times Jeff Breeden's won it was as a 6th seed. That's I don't think that's the way you want to draw it up, but you will take it.
That's correct. You certainly will. And one other thing before we get out of here, want to make sure mentioned golf team is over in Salem, South Carolina at the Cliffs at Kiowee Falls. And as of today, they are in 11th place at -2. Arkansas is at minus 39 and running away from the field over in that regional. But it's pretty good. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams in the top 50 that are in that regional, including Arkansas, Georgia Tech, North Carolina ranked second in the country, but they're third in this regional right now. And Middle is up 5 shots on Purdue, 3 shots behind Furman, and so they'll go into the final round tomorrow. They've got a lot of ground to make up, but they've had a great year.
Well, one other thing we want to mention, Chip, before we get out of here, the Conference USA Outdoor Track and Field Championships were held out in Denton over the weekend, and Stephen Aloji, breaking the conference's 110-meter hurdles mark that it stood for almost 20 years, ran a 13.50 to break the previous record of 13.68 in that event. And Aloji also shattered it.
Amazing what he after I.
One more time, Chip.
I said it's we had a little freeze up there, but it's amazing how well he did after I gave him some encouragement.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. You gave him a couple of pointers, and he swept the hurdles, winning the 400 meters as well. So a big day for him. I think MTSU had like 5 champions and broke that record. So big doings for the track and field team at MTSU this past weekend as well. So
that's correct. And then, so it's all, it's kind of like a funnel. It's all coming down to the low gravy for all of these spring sports. And so Middle's going to have some folks moving on in track to the NCAA regionals and national outdoors. So you got that. Softball, we'll see how they do. Golf seems to be winding down, and baseball still has some things going on. So it's all happening. And baseball tournament next week down in Houston, Texas. And the 3 of us will be in Murfreesboro, and this time next week we'll be talking about getting ready for spring fling.
We'll be up to our necks in it.
Well, and speaking of, you'll be hosting Spring Fling HQ, which can be seen right here during our showtime on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Is that correct?
Yes, Tuesday 3 to 8. And Wednesday and Thursday 10 to 6, and so to be seen, does that mean I have to wash my face and before I get over there?
Clip your nose hairs and all that.
I think we're just gonna have a graphic up. We won't have, we won't have a camera on you or anything unless you just want a camera on you. But I mean,
no, that's
I don't think anybody cares what's going on at the HQ. I'll be honest with you. If the camera getting Bradley and Matt's backsides the whole time, handing out packets and whatnot, probably not the ideal situation. So we'll just go with a graphic. How's that? Looks like Chip's the one with
that works for me.
Today? All right. Yeah. Well, Chip, as always, we appreciate it, and we look forward to talking with you in 2 weeks and hearing from you next week on Spring Fling HQ.
All right. Appreciate it. See you guys.
Thanks, Chip.
It's Chip Walters on the Real Property Solutions Hotline, 615-527-8750, the number to call. We go now to the Mid-South 5 Fitness Top 5 Tuesday. Mid-South 5 Fitness is Dallas Steele and the fine folks over there keeping you in shape, getting you in shape if necessary. SteelAthletes.com and at Steel Athletes on Instagram. That's STEEL Athletes. We go now to TV moms this week, as obviously Mother's Day was this weekend, and we all love mothers. I hope everyone loves their mom. I know Mo does. That's all I can tell you. Anybody else? I don't know. But all right. Justin, do we have results from last week at all?
We do not yet. It's in circulation after when I posted. So
all right. So that means we got to just go with drawing out of a hat. Is that what we're doing here? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll just go with, how about this? We'll go Mo first, Justin second. I'll go third this week because I know that mine was the best last weekend anyway because of Jerry the King Lawler.
Thanks. Or works for me.
All right. Go ahead, Mo.
Claire Huxtable from The Cosby Show.
Claire Huxtable. That's a good one.
Are we doing
All
TV
right.
shows, right? Not movies, or does it matter?
Well,
yeah, it's really on-screen moms. Whatever you want. I mean, it's
you throw it out there, and
fictional
we'll tell you
moms.
if it's good or not.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, this one's a TV show one, but I was just making sure. Everybody Loves Raymond's mom. Ray's mom, so the grandma.
Ray's mom.
Correct.
Not Ray's wife.
What was her name? Ellen?
It was Deborah. No,
No,
Deborah.
Ray's wife was Deborah. I don't remember what his mom's
Marie.
name was. Yeah.
Marie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go with Sophia Petrillo.
That's a good one.
That is Golden Girls for those uninitiated.
Yes, that's a good one.
All right. Mo?
I'm going to stay on NBC and go with Vivian Banks from The Fresh Prince.
Nice. That's a solid one.
So good.
I'm going to go Mrs. Foreman, That 70s Show.
That's a good one. It's a good one. She was a good mom in a lot of things, in a lot
She's
of different shows.
Actress mom, for sure.
Yeah. My number 2, Reba.
That's a good one. I didn't think about that.
Do love me some Reba.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if you've seen is it True Lies? Is that the show that's on CBS made off the show?
I've not seen the show.
Van is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can watch it.
Yeah.
I loved Van because he was the quarterback of arena football teams in Reba.
God, he was so goofy.
He was.
My number 3. I'm about to piss somebody off. I'm going with Tammy Taylor from Friday Night Lights.
That's a good one.
I'm gonna go classic June Cleaver.
Mm-hmm. Good value in the 3rd round.
Thank you, sir.
You can pick the show, whichever one you want, Maud or Good Times, but Florida Evans.
All right. It's my turn?
Yes.
Now it gets dicey. I'm going with Peg Bundy.
That's a good one. She was on my list. I love me some Peg Bundy. All right. Justin?
I'm going to go I think it's Estelle Costanza. It's,
George's mom?
Yeah, yep. Come on, George.
That's funny.
And that was my voice. That wasn't actually her. Just to clarify.
I don't believe that. My number 4 is Lois Griffin. Yes, just like that.
That's a good one. That's good. All right. Staying in that genre, my number 5 is Marge Simpson.
Justin?
Nice. Mine was Wilma Flintstone. So.
Wow. Okay.
That's good.
My number 5 is going to be your number 5 last week, Mo. His wife, Peggy Hill.
Oh,
nice.
Somebody had to get the cartoon started, huh?
We had a run on cartoons. We run. Oh, and that's going to do it for this week's edition of Main Street Sports Today on Tuesday and Top 5 Tuesday. Looking forward to next week. Again, Chip Walters will be hosting Spring Fling HQ. You can catch it on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in our time slot. Until then, though, We've got a good show tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll obviously talk NASCAR, and there's a lot of NASCAR to talk. I mean, a lot of NASCAR to talk about. So we'll get to that as Charlie bangs on the window right outside my.
Hey, and I think we also have orthopedic surgeon
right,
Zach Farr from Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint to talk a little baseball.
So,
because we're intrigued.
We are intrigued. So all of that and more tomorrow. Y'all come back with us on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint in the Lee Company studio. See you then.